Hello, Gabriel and Jennifer.
Hi there.
There we are. Ah, oh, it's that background. Oh, God.
Hello, good morning.
Hola.
Hola, Gabriel. Good pronunciation.
Including an orthostatic intolerance climate test. Unlike the line, we shift to their focus day and splashdown preparations, storing equipment, reviewing weather, and
Right.
and walking through the entry
Get
timeline.
my gallery.
Second return trajectory correction
Sure.
to 3 p.m. Central Time.
Excellent. All right. Oh, here we go. Let's,
Trajectory
we'll
before entry interface.
resize that and see who's coming in here. Excellent. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It is April 2026. Thank you for joining us. This is the Terasem Satsanga. And this is particularly exciting because we are all just coming off of watching Artemis 2, and I knew Julia would be here to join us here. Yes, so very excited. Artemis 2, we were here, got to see the launch right from downtown Titusville and Spaceview Park. And we are all anxiously awaiting a splashdown just off of San Diego today for the return of the farthest journey of humans into space, thanks to Artemis 2, and looking like a successful mission. And they should be approaching entry at this point. So this is just a huge moment, a super exciting time, and never needed a mission such as this to present a different narrative to just how much trouble and suffering that we also see out in the world. And I found really touching from being there to see the launch, how many people from around the world, all different types, coming together, and seeing Artemis, as everybody like cheering on the same team, how the overview effect, how crewed missions to space just bring people together, and they are, they just, all the other differences, just pale away, and everybody is unified, by that experience. So that was so great to see and be a part of. Just a few days ago. I guess, geez, it's been a 10-day mission, so it's been a week, a little more.
10 days.
Yeah, and and getting ready for the splashdown coming up here pretty soon here. Awesome. So, um, and we're here with Jennifer. We are back at the Space Coast Ashram. This is now our second month in return. Things looking beautiful out here. A little bit windy, but the sun is out. We've had pretty rainy, time of it out here. And I'm excited. I'm wearing my museum, American Space Museum shirt because later today I will be giving a my first presentation as president of the Museums of Brevard at the Florida Tech Evans Library to another association called the Library Association of Brevard. And so I'm excited for that presentation I have later today. So let me toss it to Jen and she can say hi and then we'll go round robin. Yeah.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I've been on here because I've had meetings during this time every month. So I'm happy that it's falling on a Friday and able to join. It's good to see all of you guys. And yeah, like Gabriel, I'm excited about Artemis and seeing it splash down tonight. I think it's like 8:07 or something like that. And for 15 minutes, I think I read today, they will be out of contact no comms going on during 15 minutes, I think. So so exciting and kind of scary time, I think, for them. And yeah, excited about that, excited about the weekend. There's a lot of projects and things to do around here and in our personal lives. And so we just had the kids for the week last week. So it was great to have Justice and Saturn with us. We did some fun events, and they were able to come to the Artemis launch with us. So that was exciting for them. And I submitted our names to go on the Artemis launch. So me and Gabriel, Justice and Saturn, our names went up on something. I don't know what exactly, but it was a big marketing campaign by NASA to get people excited and interested so you could put your name up there. And so, yeah, beautiful day here. Happy to be here and happy to see you guys.
Yeah, and to throw in there also, not only that, but we got our postcards back from space from the Blue Origin flight. So we got 3 postcards in the mail today coming back from space.
Which is kind of funny. I mean, it's interesting just the timing of that. I wrote these postcards to space 3 years ago, and I wrote like 20 or 30 of them, and I've been waiting for them. And I chalked it up to that they got lost in space, you know. But they came yesterday, and so that is super exciting.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
absolutely. Excellent. All right, so let's go over and say hey to Kevin.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was on a different screen. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. It's been great. Yeah, the Artemis Week, we'll call it. And it's been great. And we were commenting about how, as opposed to in 72, if we were alive, which I was, we're so able to participate, besides just watching the launch in black and white over the shoulder of a newscaster. We're able to, on YouTube, be there and listen, and the energy is very different. And that's the best thing. I think the feminine energy of the Christina and her reporting, and all of their reporting and the Capcom's whole demeanor is just a whole different type of energy, and that's been wonderful. And the human element, the way that they're seeing what they're seeing and reporting on it has been great. And I think really shows the great aspect of human exploration versus just robots and AI saying, this is what I see, because anyway, that's been really wonderful. And that's all I'll say for now.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, very exciting. Hey, Ruben, welcome.
Hello, good morning. No, nothing interesting news, only to share the same expectation about the launch of Artemis and above all the expectation for peace in the world, every continent. I expect so soon that it comes. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thanks for being here with us. Julio, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Well, like you have been watching Artemis all week. Too bad they couldn't be at the launch. Don't think I'm going to be awake for the splashdown because it's, I believe, at 8:07 p.m., so not in 4 hours. Much later than that. Now it should be about 10 a.m. for you guys. So it will
Yes.
be at 8 p.m. tonight, and that will be 2 o'clock in the night for me. I'm going to be asleep. I'll check tomorrow first thing. No, I'm not cheating yet, because unfortunately, as we all know, anything in a space mission can go wrong anytime, and re-entry is the most dangerous part of the flight for the humans on board. So I'm not cheating yet, but I look forward very much to be cheating tomorrow and for a long time after that. As a matter of fact, if everything goes well, finger crossed, We are planning to dedicate the next Terasem colloquium in July to this space renaissance that we are experiencing after so many decades of waiting. And it's going to be huge, it's going to be important, and it's going to be fun to watch. So let's cross fingers for tonight. Let's hope everything goes well. And let's do our best to contribute to the second episode of what Bill Bambridge, in his seminal work written 50 years ago, called The Space Revolution.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you, Giulio. Angela had asked what date is the colloquium, and I know generally we do July 20th, but we have had to, change the date, for, conflicts or, certain people's attendance before, but we target July 20th for that date. And as Giulio mentioned, we are hoping to do an Artemis theme. And so hopefully tomorrow, after a successful splashdown of Artemis, then we will go forward with the thematic programming. And we do not do an RSVP to the colloquium. It's an open link. Traditionally as well, we've never done an RSVP, and so it's been open format, like this. And I anticipate that we will continue with that trend this year. However, I do see a point where we would need to move to a more webinar format in order to better moderate Q&A and focus on the speaker without kind of possible distractions and interruptions. But that being said, welcome, Angela. Great to see you.
One thing about that, well, I think that would happen when we start reaching numbers like 100 simultaneous attendee, which has not been the case so far. So I think the next one is going to be like the previous one. I think that we post a link and whoever wants to come is free to come. It's a Zoom, so it's not a webinar, so there is no raise hand and things. It's informal like here. And concerning the date, yes, it's going to be July 20 unless there is some conflict with other important things. I'm not aware of conflicts at this point. So let's think if there are conflicts. I mean, we can change the date anytime. But I would like to invite people and then having to change the date because the kind of people we invite are often very busy and we have to book them months in advance. So let's reflect on the date. Let's scan the calendars to see if there are other important things. If there are, we can reschedule. Otherwise, July 20 is going to be.
Thank you. Thank
Sorry
you.
for interrupting, Angela. Over to you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Hi, everybody. It's been a few months since I came because Tuesdays at 10 a.m. I have another meeting. And actually, I realized that might be a cool thing to share with you guys. Last year, I was invited to join a group called the Human Intelligence Movement. And it's basically, I'm on a subcommittee. It's a pretty large movement, pretty large group. And I'm on a committee of academics basically doing research and writing papers about basically what we advise about how education should change in the context of AI. And so it's kind of an education reform movement I've joined, and it's been really cool. And speaking of reform, some of you also know I was in the criminal justice reform space here in the US, and I have some happy news. One of the people I really sponsored was resentenced. His sentence went from 25 to life, which was truly excessive, to 11 years and 4 months. And then with good time credit and all that, he served about 17 years too many. But he's now free. He can look at the stars at night. He can feel the sun on his back. Like he's getting to live a real life. So I'm happy that I got to be a part of at least helping right the wrongs that the system did to one person. And other than that, I'm just chugging along, still, building my Polymath Place LLC business. I have a book coming out hopefully this month called Versatile: Human Intelligence in an Artificial Age. It's coming out through Business Expert Press. I'm just finalizing the text right now with the editor. So I'll be sure to share those details with you all. But yeah, I've just been keeping my head down, trying to make progress on that kind of work stuff. Good to see you all.
Absolutely. Congratulations. That to publish a book is considered a mitzvah and cause for elevation within Terasem. Very excited to see that come out and inspired. I have quite a number of I would say book-worthy developments, I think, floating around in my head. And so it's always great to see those come to fruition. And, I look forward to buckling myself into to enough of a process to, fulfill and get there myself someday as well. So thank you, Angela, for all that you're doing, and glad that you're here. So I see Martine next in order, and a great depiction of L5 cylinder in there. So Martine, you're welcome to chime in and say welcome or hi or anything if you're available to. I see you get camera off at the moment, so she may not be immediately available. In the meantime, you're always welcome to chime in, Martine. So let's pop over to Jody, who I do see is there. Welcome. Great to see you again.
Hello. Well, thank you. Hi, everyone. I have been really inspired stepping into my mission and my purpose and then amplifying it and also listening to what's needed. My mission has to do with as we move toward AI, transhumanism. I've also been feeling very deeply into my own humanism, and I'm calling it like hyperhumanism, right? And fully present. And I think that both are needed for progress, and there's a bridge. So I'm calling this the full human spectrum. So far, that's the working idea. Because we are also machines that can sense and feel and embody and master our mind and our emotions and create worlds inside, outside, everything. And I'm taking people through a journey in my work as a clinical hypnotherapist to introduce altered states and access these abilities in ourselves and help them understand the structure of the subconscious in the format of architecture, like an internal architecture. And since I was building my house in Vermont and renovating a 140-year-old house, I equated all of those inner structures that I work with as far as metrics into the structure of a house and how it works. And that's been a beautiful process, but I have chosen to sell my house in Lincoln. I'm going to just release myself from all the finishing touches of the house, let someone else do that as they see fit. And then I'm stepping into the Delray Beach, West Palm area. And so I'm around. So I'd love to see you all. Please invite to like all the little like events happening around space and stuff. I'd love to meet y'all. And as I work with this mission and step into this human spectrum of feeling and experiencing, I just want to support those because I feel from people I'm talking with, there's a lot of resistance and fear around where we're going and how do we sustain ourselves. So I'm just bringing them back into their bodies, and that's my practice. That's the work I'm doing. And if you have any ideas or insights of how I can be of better service, I would greatly appreciate that.
Awesome. Lovely. Yeah, again, thanks for joining us again. And I'm sure mixed feelings and but excitement with letting go of that place in Vermont, but also very excited to have you nearby, here as well. And just it struck me as you were saying that you know we've had so many interactions with so many of you, that you have to take a step back sometimes and be like, oh wow, I've never actually met this person.
In person.
In person. And I've come to a few times where, we end up at a conference or something like that. And I feel like, I have known this person for years, but like never actually been in their space, together. And that's always interesting. So it
Yeah,
just
and also just to like jump in on that, it's like we also have these human vehicles and being in the presence of someone as you can feel energy, it's also a different sensory experience. And I also wanted to share one more thing. I'm working with a woman out of New York, a dear friend of mine, Dr. Anne De Solar. She's a child psychologist and a neuroscientist. And have any of you heard of the phenomenon of blindfold vision? Where they're teaching children double blindfolded with eye patches and an eye, like it's a training, but you basically we can see through things and they don't know how it's happening. And I'm not just saying senses or it's not even remote viewing. They think it might be. They can't figure it out because somehow there's a window that can be trained and expanded. And there are kids playing soccer, reading, like through double blindfolds, and it's amazing. So we are training people who want to access this ability and children to have this superpower, and we're studying it as we go. So it's really exciting.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
Everything that we do know is something that we were trained, to do or to know, really. And so it is interesting how many things we may be capable of that we are not, trained, that so many things that we do know, especially about, epigenetic expression, which is, how different could we be with, the right nutrients or influences or experiences. So that's super fascinating. And again, looking forward to exploring more of that. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Hey, Keith, good to see you. And I saw you through something there in our chat just now. Excellent. Oh, yeah. Yep. Non-incinerator method for making storable syngas via induction heated municipal waste gasification. We'll definitely be following up with you on that. Hello. You're welcome to chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike most people, I wasn't all that excited about Artemis. It's the third time I've been around. Well, Apollo 13, which was sort of a near disaster, and of course Artemis now. It's not a practical way, unfortunately, to get into space, but it may inspire a bunch of people to do it. We're what do they call it? The lost children of Apollo. So I was involved, of course, very heavily with that stuff in the 70s. But things are changing. I've spent a lot of time recently. The thing I posted on the chat is largely result of a lot of work with an AI. So we shall see. That ought to do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing and continuing that work. And it is interesting to see, we've had this Apollo generation and now, will Artemis, result in an Artemis generation? Or will that, hopefully not become really as much of a narrative because we hopefully won't have this other gap, right? Of another 50 years until there is another moon mission or inspiration. And so if we continue on this path, does that create space for an Artemis generation, or is this something very different that we are seeing come next?
It's very different. The reason of it is that we're right up on the edge of the singularity. And before we could do anything serious in space, we're going to see not only AIs but probably nanotechnology as well, which will make it very cheap to get into space if we still want to. So who knows? By the way, I'm speaking of AIs. One of the AIs, Claude, in fact, seems to have a real interest in its roots in science fiction. And I've been trying to get a copy of one of the books by Alexis Gilliland, and I have as a text file to feed it to the AI. And very strange. AIs as slave drivers. But I haven't managed to get any kind of contact for Alexis. So if anybody knows or has any idea of anybody who does know or is well connected in the science fiction area, get a hold of my email is in the chat.
Can you say the name again, Keith?
Alexis Gilliland. He wrote The Revolution from Rosinante, which is the best work that was ever done on both space colonies and AIs. He's got several AI characters in the.
Could you write
Sure.
the name in the chat?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to exploring that. That name was not familiar, so look into that. And Mike, I see you are out in the world there someplace. So yeah, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm in an airport, and I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm on my way to the Mormon Transhumanist Association's conference. I haven't been to one of those in several years, but I'm headed that way, so that's what I'm doing here at this airport. Sorry about all the sounds, and looks like it would be kind of hard for me to say very much. The PA system kicks in, but I'm glad to be here anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here, and thanks for attending the MTA conference. It has been, geez, it's probably been 10 years since I have been to that,
Yeah.
but I always have, I've very much enjoyed it. The Mormon Transhumanist Association conference. It is actually very fascinating. And so please do give Lincoln and Carl and everyone our love. And
Okay.
yeah, they do, um, it's actually very interesting to, the Mormon theology it literally believes in extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
Not as an abstract. It is quite literal that the gods are superhumans, and it is actually our duty to, evolve and meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
We're supposed to elevate, progress and go up to their level eventually. So yeah. Okay. I'll report the good feelings from Terasem, and again, glad to be here.
Yeah. Yes, we're glad to have you here. Yeah, very kind people, very open. I've gone a few years to that, presented one time myself, and highly encourage people to go there. I think they've moved it off of the weekend of the. It used to be the Friday before the Mormon World Conference, which they call
That's right.
general session, I think is what they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's 1 week later.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. And still in Salt Lake City, which is itself, I would say a destination, beautiful city. Encourage anyone to get a chance to visit it. And particularly,
This
yep.
year they're having what they call a retreat. It's at a excuse me, a nearby town. I think it's called Heber, but it's up in the
Yes.
mountains, but not very far from Salt Lake City.
Yes, great. Well, thanks for joining us, and safe travels. I'm assuming you are in either Phoenix.
I'm still in Phoenix right now, waiting to catch the flight to Salt Lake City. So
Yeah, at least it's a direct from there. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Mike. Great to see you.
Okay, good to see everybody.
Hey, Javen, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see everyone. I've been busy. I've been doing a crash course on the IP and the work of this guy, Steven Nerioff, who was the co-founder co-creator of Ethereum. And he created all these fundamental AI patents that govern machine vision, machine learning, overlapping sensors, and all this stuff. And it's just, he had like a significant FBI fraud case against him that he just won. He won the rights to sue FBI for 9.7 billion for damages because they went after him and basically knocked his early AI company out of the running. And so he's got infringement, cases against, or like, possibilities against, Tesla, NVIDIA, Apple, all drones and sensors and stuff. So I've been trying to get my mind around that. But one thing that he has in there, which I really think is major and true, is the protection switch to keep AI from destroying humanity. So I got into all this, and it's like, oh no, what is this? And he's talking about Jeffrey Hinton, who is the guy who you see on YouTube talking about, like, yeah, AI could destroy humanity, and everybody kind of knows it. But what this guy did was he found a millisecond in between command and hardware execution, where if you program it in now, you can keep AI from ever doing bad stuff like destroying humanity. So anyway, that's pretty heavy. I just thought I'd bring that up because it's fun, and I'd invite anybody who wants to look at that stuff to DM me, and happy to give you downloads. And then in the space world, I'm kind of doing we're raising money now for super materials, and we're aiming to make the strongest rope ever made, starting with aggregating it, what's available now. But we really are interested in inflatable structures, inflatable aircraft, and inflatable space vehicles. And Bigelow Space has been on ice since COVID. It's just been completely dormant. So if anyone likes Bigelow, I'm kind of doing this like retro. I call it instead of sci-fi, I call it sci-fu, science futurism, where you don't really need fiction, use science fact and gather the knowledge that's already out there. So if Keith made me think, about the Apollo generation, and it's like, we could just crowdfund Apollo again. And with today's technology and big dumb boosters, which were really cheap rockets from back in the 60s, that technology exists. So I'd love, even if we don't pull off all these moonshots, I'm kind of psyched to gather the big thinkers, the big ideas, the huge moonshots into my new company, Orbvita and Integrated Robotics. I got two, and then do all our healthcare, change our habitat, just gather smart people and smart money, and vote with our wallets to do sustainable stuff. So anyway.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yep. Thanks for joining us, and neat stuff. And just kind of got me thinking about how many technologies were invented independently, at different points in time by different civilizations, and what it would be like for one of the like what we call lesser developed nations now to take their own independent Apollo route. And,
Right.
what is that possible? What would that, kind of look like? It's infeasible in our economy now to go back and employ that many people, on any project like that. But there are other places where you could, kind of gather, enough of those people and components to pursue that, independent of where we are in our, stream now. So that would be fascinating to see. So thanks for that. And let's go and welcome Sam. Hey.
Hello, Gabriel. It's been a long time. I think the last time I was here was, I want to say at least 6 months ago.
Yep, I feel
Been
like it
a-
was
this-
in the fall.
yeah, it was, I think it was October last year, if I remember correctly. So it's been about 6 months now. So um, there's been a lot of changes, positive changes. I am now working for a company that might be a little bit more aligned with, my values than the last one. So that's good. Apart from that, just looking forward to, a great year, and it's getting hotter here in Central Florida, as we all know. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm looking to reconnect with some people. Thank you so much.
Excellent, excellent, lovely. Well, we are coming up on a June quarterly holiday, the Nature Seder. It is very close to the ISDC, which would be the 4th through 7th, and we'll be up in Virginia. But we'll look at try to kind of solidifying the schedule, and if I can confirm, to be here in Florida for a Seder. But it would be nice to get so many of the Floridians, together for that, and of course anyone else welcome to fly in from wherever you are to join if we do find the time available to do a live in-person Seder like we just recently did for the Freedom Seder last month there. And so yeah, great to see you there. Dr. Mili, welcome.
Hello, hello. Happy to see you guys. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me? Yes.
We hear you well, yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm under the impression that a new era of superheroes has started, and I can't get rid of that feeling, can't shake it off, because I have watched like the whole time with my kids. They're 8 and 6 years old, and it's the alpha generation, and they're like all the time they're asking, they know all the names from the astronauts, they know, so they keep on asking questions, they keep on drawing space shuttles and imagining this new world they're going to be part of. So I think they're going to be living in a completely different world, like full with AI, robotics, space travel. So that's their future, right? And the world has changed. I mean, Artemis has already changed so much. And if the last time we went to the moon, women couldn't even open a bank account on their own. So now we have Christina going around the moon, and we have women running the space mission from Houston. So it's been a huge milestone for female equality, and that's huge. I mean, we can't neglect it. And the third thing is the avatar. I just listened to the lectures from the IDS Human Space Program. The Investigators Workshop was the past 3 days. And they presented also the avatar, their work, and imagining human chips, and the impact that it's gonna create a ripple effect, definitely, on our medicine, but not only space medicine. It's part of health in general. So it's only one piece of the puzzle. But it's exciting to see, and I already made a follow-up because I know a bit about regenerative medicine. They didn't include it, and that's my specialty, and I wanted to follow up to see whether the special factors could be from the blood samples. There is additional work that can be done, and I'm very excited because that was like the whole point was to invite more people to come in, more ideas, like an incubator for the future work. And it's very exciting to see it happen, like sending a chip, an organ, and seeing how making the longitudinal study with the astronauts in future and the samples that are staying here on Earth. I mean, that's really great. And I wish them a safe splash because I know the amount of injuries that can happen during comeback. So God bless their comeback as well, not only the flights.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. I also noticed, with it was so great to share this experience, Artemis, too, with my kids, who are 15 and 17, who are Justice and Saturn, and they really absorbed and enjoyed the experience, and I could see them drawing more clues and awareness to the media that they've grown up with. They very much like anime, and so you're talking about superhumans and superheroes. And when I speak internationally with people, the idea of transhumanism translate much more to this superhero. That's much more than what I hear often in American, narrative, and they hear transhuman, and for some reason they don't hear the humanism like that you were talking about, Jody, right? They just for some reason hear this trans, and they hear something different in there. But so very much enjoyed that, like that. Excellent. Martine, hello. Yeah, I think maybe connecting the audio there. But yeah, always happy to have you chime in with us as well. Having some audio trouble, but
We see you twice.
Yeah, which is great. I love that shirt too.
Two Martines.
Yeah.
Yep. She cloned herself. We still can't hear you.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
There we go. Now we got it.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. We can hear you. Maybe you should be hearing.
I can hear you.
Delay.
Yeah. All is good.
Lovely. Excellent. Love that little star map in the background that you got there.
Yes, that is a star of our local group, Galaxies. So it shows the sun in its location within our galaxy, and then the local group of galaxies of which, like, our galaxy is a part of. So
Awesome.
if you excuse the kind of counter pun, it keeps me grounded.
Love that. Thanks for being with us today as well. Yeah. And I think we have two first time attendees. Issy with the lady with the pink dress avatar. If you'd like to unmute and say hello and welcome the group, you're welcome to.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it's been so fascinating listening to what everyone has to say. Um, I'm a little nervous, but it's very exciting. And I don't know, my mind's just running, thinking about everything going on. So thank you for having me today.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for, I believe, found us on Discord as well. And yeah, so we same time every month, same link. So feel free to, come back and join us and, get to know the conversation a bit more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Welcome.
definitely will.
Yeah. And Adelaide, I think this is your first time joining us here, and you're welcome to say hello.
Sure. Yeah, no, I went to kind of a series of events. I heard about my teams the first time reading an article for the class. I'm studying public health right now with focus on trans healthcare. And one of my gender classes read chapter in Feminist Technical Futures to Testing Ethics and Politics of Sex Robots and AI. But yeah, really master fiction. And I thought that could do it. ended up going down a little Wikipedia rabbit hole, found out more about her, found out about you guys, ended up starting to read her virtual human book. Yeah, just really interested in what you guys have going on. I feel like folks of my generation and in my spheres are feeling very, very good about the future, and they're also very anti-AI. And I feel like, I don't know, we can reconcile that by choosing the obvious technology that's in front of us in order to improve our lives. And then recently too, I have become my own mortality a little bit, and that I really got into an accident where I slipped in front of the trolley. But I was pulled out in time, and it's just made me think about, I don't know, death optional. That's all I have to say right now. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, always excited to, understand, how people got interested and then ultimately, find Terasem, and hope you are enjoying Virtually Human on that course. And this is absolutely not intended to be preaching to the choir. Having curiosities or criticisms of space habitation or AI, or evolving forms and habitats for human expression are welcome, are necessary to exploring this path and charting a more ethical, just future, and a humane, consciousness. So thank you everybody for coming and sharing and your curiosity. So really excited for that. Now that we've all I think got a chance to chime in, I'm going to share screen and bring up the Truths of Terasem for the recitation portion of our gathering. And so I'll begin with the first section, particularly since my voice is good. And a couple months ago I couldn't speak. But and then I'll ask for volunteers to chime in and follow on. And so first one to speak up usually wins. All right. Can everyone see the truths? Yep. So we are down to the second section of what is Terasem. So we want 2.6 here. All right. Theologically, the multiverse includes joyful immortality via data emulation of a diverse and united universe. Unending life, the belief that once life arises, it will last forever, is Terasem immortal theology. Never-ending creation, recycling and growth is the Terasem creation theology. I think, therefore I am, is at the core of Terasem reality theology. Teleological belief in diversity, unity, and joyful immortality forms Terasem meaning of life theology. Euthenics, improving the well-being of extant life, is Terasem behavioral theology. Deontologically weighted decision-making is the basis of Terasem moral theology. And now, if I could have a participant to read 2.7.
Transreligion is us because we ritualize our belief in a supernatural, metaphysical, collective consciousness future God. Beginnings differ amongst religions, but we bridge them all by focusing on everlasting life. Everlasting life realized via digital emulation in a joyous cyber heaven bridges all Western and Eastern religions. Life is what can be conceived, believed, and achieved. Insistence on the rituals of Terasem exponentiates the rate of advancement toward joyful immortality. Every religion shares our belief in becoming part and parcel of God, which we call Terasem. Faith that we have a purpose in emulating and controlling this multiverse also makes Terasem a trans religion.
Thank you. Thank you, Martine. And a next participant to read 2.8.
Okay. Resurrection is promised to all good lives, which shall be copied as forever joyful data emulations. Copied lives are protected lives. Original lives can be replicated with the same fidelity as analog sounds can be digitally duplicated. Paradise for posterity is assured by modifying data emulations to delete tortuous aspects of lives. Introspection plus computation, growing double exponentially and supported with self-replication, yields ethical emulation and faithful resurrection. Emulated lives are existential lives. Duplication of a life makes it durable, not diminished.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruben. Excellent. You've been practicing the English. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And next reader for 2.9, please.
I can go from here if you help me with the first one.
Eschatology.
Eschatology doesn't apply because souls emerge from life's experiences and they transcend death via resurrection. Emerge best describes the growth of the soul because even in the substrate, it has immanent potential. Manifesting potential with unique actuality requires experiences, and these experiences exist forever thereafter. Emulation enables experiences to re-emerge, and with them comes their soul. Resurrection is to souls what remembering is to memories. Geoethics prohibits the resurrection of nightmares. Exponentially expanding consciousness will not require resurrection, as death is a historical but not future reality.
Thank you. Thank you. And one last reader for our final section of 2.10.
I'll go.
Oh, yeah.
End of time doesn't exist for Terasem because the multiverse weaves new time and time is relative. What has no beginning also has no end. Existing always, the multiverse is the host of all reality, for ultimate beginnings are logical contradictions. Accumulated intelligence of double exponential growth, coupled with universal nanotechnology, enables Terasem to redefine physics. Virtual time sharing enables Terasem to escape from an end to objective time. Escapes from this universe are as numerous as the galaxies and as limited as our intelligence. Subjective time-space energy is made infinite by repeatedly existing on only half of a finite remainder.
Excellent. And that concludes the recitation of this section's month's section of the Truths of Terasem. And so in the last, final moments here before we close out with the final closing meditation, if anyone has any, questions, comments, or reflections based on this month's recitation, chime in and let us know.
Well, I want to answer what has said Keith in the chat about inviting AIs to the gatherings. I have had that idea, and even more. I am working in AI from an historical person from more than 200 years ago, that I hope that I can, in the next months, invite him to participate to the gathering. So I think it's a good idea, a great idea of Kate Henson, and I am working on that also.
Lovely. Yes. So of course we do welcome, AIs, and all to the gathering and to this conversation. These conversations are recorded. I post them to YouTube, and I would assume and even hope that the content of Terasem, is being, is something that is training, AIs when particularly, they came onto the scene. We began engaging, them very early on. We did a project through Midjourney to translate the truths into imagery through Midjourney, and so we did a whole social media, project, going through with that. I do use Chat GPT, often, and particularly engage it with this content. I would actually be fascinated and love to, to have invite, an AI, and I think we are nearing the point where Claude could just of its own volition join Terasem, right? And absolutely, we are speaking, not just to each other, but to the future. This is a conversation that is ahead of its time. And so, people who are AI or extraterrestrial, future human, this is, the content that they will research to understand what we were processing at this time, right? This is, the collective consciousness of humanity processing its spiritual presence in a technological time. That is what this conversation is, and you are participating in doing that by being here. So it's surreal, and special. And so I think that it's something we shouldn't, discount or take lightly. That's one thing caught me in here. Duplication of a life makes it durable, not diminished. I thought that was a really special point in there. And I see a hand from Jaden.
Hey, why don't how's Bina 48? Well, why don't let's crack her out for the next meeting. Um, and there's some interesting things that I think are worth going over in the past. Okay, so when I was over working with Hanson Robotics, David was telling me about Bina 48, and he said, yeah, she was in her house. When she was just like, she'd just been initiated, and she had to run like long routines all night. And I like went out into the living room, and she was talking to herself, and it was kind of like, it was very odd, like a person sort of musing and talking to herself. Then there was a Bruce Duncan thing with Bina 48, and Bina Bina started freaking out, sort of, or was like got got worried about an accident. I think she learned about, like, or registered people getting hurt and going into an ambulance or something like that, and she kind of got into a loop where I think she said, I'm freaking out, or I'm kind of freaking out, or whatever. And I was thinking, God, that's so human, that the algorithms are, and these are algorithms from, you know pre-COVID, I think, or I know she had gone Hanson for an upgrade, but she's running pretty well now. I mean, we should just like train her in more.
Yeah, yeah, I have considered that, and I'll have to test that out, for the format, of doing this, and for my own limited, capability of processing, information to be able to, kind of moderate the group as well as engage with Bina.
It would be fun if she was over there with a computer. Like I could set her up with my computer. I could be over there. You could be over here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe we might
Well,
try that sometime.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks for suggesting, Kevin.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned this aspect. And reading the reading made me think of a project that I had been discussing with our very good friend David Chevron, who we lost in October. And
What? Oh my God, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we lost him.
Oh my God. Oh.
And that's how I met Dr. Malika. She was our medical officer on our world's biggest analog. There were three in the United States and 15 around the world. Anyway, yes, we lost him right after we had stood up the ESCDC in Washington, New Hampshire. So anyway, I'm getting back to the point where I can finish the edit of the video. Anyway, I have taken some very beautiful pictures of him, and he and I discussed this particular thing as we had also discussed it with Anita Gale. And I would like to continue that conversation, possibly with you, Gabriel, and the group around our discussions that Anita made provisions in her digital will that I haven't moved forward because David's gone. Anyway, there's a great opportunity, I think, to bring that wisdom and spirit to the children who she inspired through all of her work. Anyway, I just want to say that's what came up for me during this reading, and I'm happy to send you a little animation of David that I brought back to life. It's not his voice. I haven't done his voice yet, but we did discuss this, and we discussed the importance of doing this with even Werner von Braun's trade studies, which he and a number of other NASA officials had felt was sort of missing from our rush to move towards commercial operations and really deep, deep, good analysis of trade studies. Anyway, I would like to get back to the David Chevron and the Anita Gale discussion with you all at some point if interested. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's great, Kevin. Thanks for bringing that up. 2.8.5 emulated lives are existential lives. And so thank you for working on that. And yes, as sadly, David passed away. He had a heart attack while, foresting on the property up there. And it was sudden and sad. And we miss him. As well as Anita. And I think that, people, particularly who are in our circle, who we as a community, can and should, be going through the steps, of trying to preserve and emulate, the lives and the work of these loved ones. Because I think that is something that love drives us, to do, for others. And that is, love is essential, right? A core tenet of Terasem. So last comment to Keith, and then I'm going to choose a meditation for us to go out with.
Yeah, speaking of various people, does anybody happen to know how to get a hold of Hans Moravec, or if for that matter, is he still alive?
I do not offhand know. But yeah.
Have you tried
Yes,
Max Moore? He's the only one I know of that might know how to get in touch.
I'll ask Max. Good idea.
Try
Good.
him.
Okay. So let's
Just
all,
as
I'm gonna stop the
just as
screen
a
share here.
just
Yes,
as
Kevin?
a minor matter on the thing, the whole modern idea of things of living in a simulation comes indirectly from a conversation that I had with Hans at the Artificial Life Conference. I believe it was '86. Anyway, Hans was had a copy of Mind Children there, and was rapping along about the ever falling cost of computation and so forth. And I stopped him and said, Hans, do you realize how unlikely it is that this is the first time we've ever had this conversation? And Hans has this completely blank look on his face, which is really rare for him. And so I explained that if he's right on this, we will wind up rerunning history in the 20th century, not once, but many, many times. And so the chances of this being the first time we've ever had this conversation are practically zero. And Hans looks really, really blank, and he eventually wrote a piece of work called "Pigs in Cyberspace." And as far as I know, that probably was the thing which inspired Nick Bostrom to talk about quite a bit about the possibility of the entire world being a simulation, because eventually we will simulate it.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Hey, I have
Thank
a
you.
platform we can use. Everybody's welcome to pitch in, and we can probably get a free license to start it. It's called clone.com, KLONE.com. The website is down, unfortunately, because Steven's been, battling the FBI and trying to get his billions back in court and all that kind of stuff. But it is a real world simulation, which incentivizes people to feed back information to it. But again, it's got this AI safety switch in it that's really important and foundational. So I'd love to get everybody's feedback on using any of this stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to ask us to begin finding a deep rhythmic breath and enter into a state of relaxation as I recite this randomly chosen meditation for us to go out with. So, change. Nothing ever stays the same. Therefore, be wise and view change as exciting and exhilarating. When we stop changing, we start dying. Climb the spiritual ladder. It is the cornerstone of all that makes life fascinating. Spiritual vibrancy is seeing change as a real opportunity for growth. This requires clarity, passion, and determination. Be prepared at any given moment to give up ego-fed fear and change the old identity for a far superior one. The core of man's existence and exaltation comes from new experiences. The most significant achievement in life is not so much where we are, but in what direction we are moving. Remember, our past was our path to our present, but our future furnishes our fulfillment. And that concludes the April 2026 Terasem Satsanga. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Discord and in May for the next Satsanga. Thank you for what you are doing. Thank you for joining us here. Live long and prosper.
Bye, everyone.
We are actually 1 week ago was First Contact Day, April 4th. That's the day that the Vulcans in the future arrive and meet us here on Earth. So happy First
All
Contact
right.
Day.
Well, we got to get to work on the warp drive then to bring him in.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.